So at first I thought that this was some internet joke about Harry and Meghan wearing microphones to the Jubilee Thanksgiving service. But it so happens that this is much more serious than I first thought, for reasons you're about to find out. Welcome back, my body language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and it would be great if you join us by just liking this video, subscribing, and hitting that bell. Let's get down to it. You can imagine that the Harkles' appearance at the Thanksgiving service was going to be highly scrutinized in every possible way. And yes, there was a conflict of reports in the booing department because some people heard boos and others heard cheers. But it's normal that any public figure is going to have both detractors and fans, especially if they are so polarizing. But since we did not have any actual audio of what they were saying, well, it's not that we want to know what they say, but still, there was a lot of moments where Meghan was nervously fixing that huge collar of her dress. And as in every body language clue, you should always compare behaviors to other moments and events. I've watched quite some videos of Meghan in all kinds of settings, and no matter how comfortable or uncomfortable is what she's wearing at the moment, she doesn't have as many pacifying gestures trying to adjust her garment, so that's a clue we should consider. I want to mention that I was not paying much attention to this topic until I found out that Trevor Cult mentioned that in his channel. Big shout out to Trevor, make sure you subscribe to his updates. Thanks to Trevor Military Connections, he mentions that everyone at the event knew that Harkles were wired, that they had some kind of recording devices. Now, I want to stress the fact that there's no direct way to confirm this, that we have to use Neil Sean's famous word, allegedly, but at the same time, Trevor makes a very good point. Did you notice that no royal, especially the working royals, had any contact whatsoever with the Harkles? It's like the event was arranged not because they wanted to avoid some kind of impasse, but to prevent that any relevant member of the royal family were in close proximity of Harry and Meghan. And any interactions with them were kept next to zero. So when I was checking on the footage available, I noticed that everyone was mentioning Meghan fixing her collar, and it was always the left side. Of course, that is not remotely enough to claim any hidden microphone, but at the same time, something has to be said about certain pacifying gestures. We do this kind of gestures to calm ourselves. This can be fixing our clothes or touching our faces, or in the case of Harry, touching and twisting his ring. This is a way to vent stress, and it actually works, and that's why we do it. But at the same time, we are telling the world that we are nervous. In the case of clothing, maybe the fitting is not right and we feel a bit uncomfortable, but for any fitting adjustment, we usually pull. We pull sleeves, skirts, you name it. But this was a very deliberate move to touch something right below her collar flap. She's not really adjusting any fitting. But let's focus even more in pacifying gestures. The pacifying effect is much stronger when we touch our body in any way. When we embrace ourselves, or touch our arm, or maybe scratch an ear, or touch our noses or the mouth. There's some kind of self-body contact. In the case of a collar that is way too tight or uncomfortable, you will find a way to pull the flaps or insert a finger to loosen it. And you will try it on different angles. For example, pulling a shirt sleeve, you will test it doing it by the palm side or the top of the hand side. I just want you to make the mental exercise of remembering the last time you felt the need to adjust your clothing. Most probably it was pulling motions and not in specific areas. This was a very specific and concealed spot that did not change or adjust the fitting of her collar, that by the way was big enough to not touch her neck. So a very simple question arises. What would be the need to be wired? What do they want to record? It's well known the limitations of a microphone under clothing, especially if it's as heavy as her collar fabric. At the same time, when they are not listening to the service, the general noise inside a cathedral and the echo would make the recordings worthless because you would not be able to make much of it. There are also privacy issues. You will not be able to use any recorded conversation for any broadcasting service such as Spotify or Netflix without the permission of the person themselves. Unless, of course, you've got Disney-grade attorneys. So the only option left if they wanted to have any record of conversations is for personal use. And if the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial taught us anything, is that personal use can be as broad and disturbing as you can imagine. But there is a silver lining to all this tension caused by the presence of the Harkles in the UK, and that is the friction needed for the British royal family to close ranks and show the world who's in charge. And I don't mean as a monarchy or even as a family. I'm talking about plain and simple public relations and brand image. It's like I tweeted these days. The campaign to bring the Harkles up and the working royals down has been brutal on every corner of the internet. But that campaign failed. That silly effort to put the ex-royals in any kind of pedestal over the Jubilee celebrations fell flat. And yes, it was uncomfortable to watch at times, not only their appearance, but also the ripples in all social media channels. But at the same time, we need that kind of frictions in our lives, because those are the moments that we get to prove what we are made of. And you can bet that the royal family sees that opportunity. By the way, a nice surprise was that skit between the Queen and Paddington Bear, in which they are sitting. Paddington offers her a marmalade sandwich, and she answers that she's got her own sandwich inside her purse. When the public outside signals that the main event is about to begin, there are some very touching words from the little bear, especially that "thank you for everything." On one hand, it was an unexpected display of much-needed levity to remind everyone that the Queen is still young at heart, and she's 100% willing to engage in these both heartwarming and funny displays. But there is a reason why is Paddington Bear the guest, and it's because he's a symbol of kindness. Some people relate him to immigrants, but the fact is that its symbolism is more about being kind to people even if you don't know them. And sometimes, even if they are out to hurt you, you act with kindness, but keep them at bay. There is no doubt the Platinum Jubilee celebrations were an amazing event, especially the last couple days with the concert and the pageant. It's something that was beyond anyone expected, and that was the true heart of its purpose. And in that sense, the celebration of this milestone was untainted by any drama that the Montecito duo could spark. This is a mission accomplished, and some amazing memories that will be remembered in history the way every single royalist expected. I want to apologize for these days because I told you that I was going to live stream all the events of the Jubilee celebrations, but I did not realize that I was going to face the full force of the mainstream broadcasters, so I was effectively jeopardizing my YouTube channel doing things the wrong way. At least everything is solved now, and I'm more than ready to keep bringing you the royal news that we all love to watch. You can always help me spot topics to analyze, following and tagging me on my Instagram account. And if you want to refine your observation skills, all you have to do is download my 100 body language tips right in the description of this video. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas, and it will always be a pleasure, my body language buddies. Much love and bliss.